Are you currently house hunting in Arizona? Well, what you should be doing is hiring a professional house hunting. Are you currently house hunting in Arizona?
Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show, where after a while, the little voice in your head says, why am I watching this? Good morning, YouTubers. It is Monday morning in Arizona, and we are going to be a whopping 65 degrees today, which looks pretty good when I compare it to the rest of the country. I had a buddy send me a video of his back porch in El Paso, Texas, and it was snowing. My brother lives in Port Angeles, Washington. They got a foot of snow, and so I tried to be a nice boy and not send him any pictures of sunshine and warm weather. So, but I'm not below doing that though. So anyway, interesting weekend. So the intention of this channel is to make sure that you see recent data, because most of the data that we see that comes across in the news and everything tells you what happened last month or the month before that and the trends. So we're looking at real data so that we can get an idea of what's coming up. Now, we can safely predict what's going to happen in 90 days. That's a no-brainer. We can kind of step out on a ledge and say, well, this is probably where we're going to end up in 9 months. It's not easy to predict going out a year. So we're going to look at the numbers together. And so when you see things and you see trends, you'll be able to know with confidence what's happening. And right now, the trend is it's almost impossible to buy. You can, but you got to be prepared for battle. A couple things going on out there in new construction is making that part even harder. The new builders, they buy all this land, but they're only releasing lots in 4 or 10 at a time. And there's people waiting to build, and they put out 4 lots, and you have to be on a waiting list, and then it ends up being a little bidding war just for the lot. Then once you get your lot, you build, and the wait time for new construction is about 8 months. The other thing I'm noticing too is the earnest money deposits that they're requiring are huge. And I want to caution people when you're looking at new construction too, because they tried to do this to me with Beazer Homes when I moved here from New York. And that is, they wanted me to put down 10% earnest money and make the check out to the builder. No. I said, no, I'm going to give it to title company. They're going to hold it. Well, no, that's the way we do things out here. Well, that's not the way I do things. I mean, if you make a check out to the builder and the builder goes belly up, there went your earnest money. You haven't even got your house built. So insist on that earnest money being held by a third party. Don't make a check out to a builder. That's crazy. I remember my dad was a broker, and he called the agent and he said, hey, what's with writing a check out to the builder? Oh, that's just the way we do things down here, Larry. And she goes, Beazer's really a strong company. And he goes, yeah, well, so was Pan Am, and I lost my shirt in that stock. So let's take a look at what's going on now in the market in Arizona. Now, I heard on a Sunday radio show yesterday, and she's a great real estate agent, and her information was not wrong. But what she was saying was, you can tell when the market's making a turn when you start seeing more listings in your neighborhood, more signs, and you see them on the market longer. And while that's true, it's going to take you a while to actually recognize that. You're not going to say, oh, there's 2 more for sale homes, on my neighborhood, and gee, they seem to be staying on the market longer. The numbers I'm showing you is what happened this morning, and the trends that we're looking at, I'll explain what they mean, and that way you don't have to drive around your neighborhood and see what's going on. So let me share what I have this morning. I'm going to pull this up real quickie, and there is our MLS. So this is the dashboard of what makes things work in my world. I'm going to go to a quick search. We're going to see how many homes are on the market today. Mondays have turned into the best day to list a home, because on Tuesday, there's hardly anything available. It goes down all the time. And here we are, 4717. We'll go down about 150 to 200 tomorrow, which is 4,500. And it's still an alarmingly low number. Let me show you what the 7-day moving averages. Let me explain what that is before I put that chart up. The 7-day moving average is the number of homes. Let's see, I want to make sure I do this right. Is the number of homes that came on the market over the past 7 days, and then the number of homes that went under contract. So if we're selling more homes, putting more homes under contract than came on, then the total inventory is just going to keep coming down. And at the rate that we're doing it now, take a look at this. I want to make sure that we can see this. I'm going to get my mug out of the picture here. See over here, I started tracking this in September. See these blue lines? Well, that's number of homes coming on the market. That's what we want to see. We want to see that blue line starting to poke its head above all the other golden lines. We don't want to see what we're seeing today. And what we're seeing today is, I'm going to zoom in here if I can do it. Let's see, zoom 200%. There we go. So what we're seeing today is that the golden line here is significantly higher than the blue line, which means that, you know, we're still eating them up at the rate of, let me look at the actual numbers down below here. It's a kind of an ugly chart, but it's my chart. So I'm go all the way down to the bottom. 329 more homes went under contract than came on the market. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to say that if this trend continues, inventory is going to get lower and lower and lower. And so they're still coming on at about 37 or 3,800 homes a week, but we're gobbling them up at 47 or 41, I mean. And so at 329, I mean, think about that. We're out of homes in 16 or 17 weeks if this continues. Mathematically, it's possible. Whether or not I think it's going to happen, I doubt it. So what this tells you is you don't have to go outside and say, well, you know, are more homes for sale now than last time? You don't have to look at data that's 30 days old. This is this morning. And this morning, we're still not having enough listings come on to satisfy how many buyers are out there. And the buyers are back. So if you look at this trend line from September, you know, they're back. And this line down here, see where it dipped? I'm kind of screwing with this a little bit. This is the holidays. So this is Christmas. This is Thanksgiving. So holidays clearly affect volume. Not as many buyers, not as many sellers. There's Christmas, New Year's, just really dipped down. The thing I want you to notice too, though, was coming into this year, you had a lot of people say, well, I'm going to wait till after the election. Well, the election was here. Here's after. Here's before. The election didn't do diddly or squat. It never does. It never affects the current trend. So if real estate's going down in October, you're going to have the election. It's going to go down in January and February. If it's going up, you're going to go up in January and February. So the election doesn't mean anything. And it never has. It gives people anxiety and they stay home. So the volume dips a little bit, but the trend does not. And that's important to remember. I know we got another 4 years before that happens again. And, you know, but look at it. If it didn't affect any of the sales with one of the most contentious, ugly elections in our lifetime, then what will? So don't worry about elections, even the midterms. They don't mean anything. Now, I like the Cromford Report because it's run by Michael Orr, who is a mathematician. He's not a realtor. I'm always a little bit skeptical of what I call inside the industry data. In other words, you know, realtors telling you what to think or title people telling me what to think, and it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that I like to have an outside look at data, and I look at it quite a bit. I look at CoreLogic, and I look at the Cromford Report, and I look and see who's been the most accurate, and it's clearly the Cromford Report. They're looking at just local Arizona data. CoreLogic is a great resource, but they look at things nationally. They do a little bit of a regional snapshot. And in the past few months, in past 2 years, they've been woefully inaccurate. I mean, it's been terrible. But the Cromford Report has this thing called a CMI. It's a index. And the CMI, when it's 100, that means the market's balanced and it's normal. That for buyers and sellers, when it's below 100, if it gets to 90, you're going to start seeing prices come down. we're way out of whack. Look at this. Avondale's 901, Gilbert 754, Chandler 736. And these are last week's numbers. They're going to get worse. Here's what's important about this. I'm going to read this because I know it's kind of hard to see on there, but for the many years, the record monthly average sales price per square foot across the entire MLS database was $190.61, set on May of 2006, almost 15 years ago. We exceeded that level for the first time in August 2020. It only took until October 2nd, 2020 to exceed $200, and then 210 was passed on November 23rd, 2020. February 9th saw us break over 2020, over $220. So in the space of just over 6 months, we have seen $30 added to the average price per square foot. This is a rise of almost 16% in half a year. Now, I just looked at CoreLogic this morning and they said, yeah, we went up about 9. The reality is, in half a year right now, our prices have gone up 16%. But here's the kicker, folks. And he's saying right here, maybe you think this is unusual and will not last long. I would disagree with that opinion. With the Cromford Market Index about to exceed 500 for the first time in the next few days, in other words, all of them, not just these 3 here, 3 or 4. Let's see, I've lost my spot. The speed of appreciation is about to step higher, not lower. Prices are going to come up even quicker. It will not take much appreciation rates to exceed 30% and possibly 40% over the next few months. If appreciation is to slow down, we need to see a clear sign of something that would cause that to occur. And right now, he doesn't see anything. What they're saying, and this is important, the number of homes that are on the market right now and the number of activity, number of homes going under contract is so out of whack and inventory so low that you're going to see between a 30 and 40% increase in values over the next few months. In other words, the cake's already been baked. So it's already going on right now. There's already bidding wars. The price is going to go up. And think about that. So if you bought last year and you were worried the market might go down or something, or you bought last year, your house is now worth 16% more. And we're going forward here and we're looking at data that tells us it could go up as high as 40% more. Well, if next year we have the so-called crash and it goes down to 40%, you're still fine. You're still in good shape. What can cause a crash? Well, the blue line has to come over the yellow line. In other words, we have to have more listings come on suddenly to where the sales can't keep up with it. That's the only thing that's going to lower prices. You're going to have more listings. Now, what can bring on more listings? Well, there can be a lot of things. We look at forbearances, the number of people that haven't been making their payments and delinquencies. That's not enough. That's only like 5% of all mortgages that are out there. So instead of us being at a low of, we have 89% fewer listings this year than we did last year, and all the forbearances hit the market. Well, you're still above 80%. So you're going to have 84% less listings. So the dump of forbearances on the market, you're not even going to feel it. And that's if that even happens. So I think most people, if they're behind on their mortgage, are going to retool the mortgage. But if they don't, there's buyers out there willing to scoop them up. So I don't see that happening. I repeat myself often when I say what I do think is a danger to us as a country is this debt and this debt bubble. So if the stock market takes a really huge hit, technically, and it turns, the central bank says they're going to act. They don't want that to happen. But, when you look at it, they've already put $9 trillion on the balance sheet. So the central banks have already added $9 trillion. If the market tanks, are they going to step up with an additional $10 trillion? I don't think so. And in that chaos, if the stock market starts going down and the central bank doesn't have the tools to prevent this type of a rundown in the market, you could see that quickly affect inventory, but we'll see it fast and we will see it in these inventory numbers. So it's not going to be anything that takes you by surprise. Now, I'm not saying the market's going to crash. I don't know. That's not my expertise. All I can do is look at the numbers and see what's going on with real estate. I can't predict the market, so I have no idea what to tell you what's going to go on in the stock market. Even Bitcoin almost hit $50,000 this week and then dipped back down to 47,000. And I don't understand Bitcoin at all. So I don't get it. Digital currency. What happens when the lights go out? So it's an interesting time this week. There's nothing on the horizon that says that our inventory is going to go up. So we're sitting at 4,700 today. That's going to continue to dip down. I took a quick look on Zillow. Now Zillow's a lot more accurate now than they used to be, simply because they are now a part of our multiple listing service. They had to, register and join our association and become part of the MLS because they're now buying and selling homes. So they're one of us. And what I looked for was for sale by owners. I wanted to see if there's a big pile of for sale by owners that aren't on the MLS. People can put them on there. And what I found is there's a few, not a lot, there's a few in each neighborhoods. And typically what I see in for sale by owners, their pricing is way out of whack. They ask way too much. They have too much pride in ownership, didn't really get an accurate snapshot of what's going on in the market. They just hear things. I mean, I saw this house. I can't even remember what part of the valley it was in. It was Scottsdale. And it's your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Looks like it was about, I want to say between 1,400, 1,600 square feet. Nothing upgraded, $900,000. Here's a shock. It's been on the market a while. So I think when you're going through the for sale by owners, take a look at them, if you're looking at them on Zillow, and then call an agent. Don't contact the owner because you're not going to save any money. Okay. Call an agent and say, I really want to see this for sale by owner. We call them when we go, hey, I've got a buyer. He's really interested in your house. Are you open to paying a commission to a buyer? 2%, 2.5%? 9 times out of 10, they say yes. Now I get it. Sometimes real estate agents call FSBOs and they make it up. They don't have a buyer. But if I can say, look, I'd like to take a look at it. I'd like to bring them over. And the reason that you want an agent is because, tell you what, it's a lot easier for us to pull that price down than it is for you. And yes, they're going to pay a commission, but they've been sitting there looking at the house for a while. And it's not for sale anyway. The average for sale by owner person gives up after 17 days. One of the biggest reasons is they're just tired of handling the showings. You got to stay home all the time. You got to watch these people. You don't even know who's coming in your house, whether they're pre-qualified or not. When an agent brings them, I'm not going to show a house if you're not pre-qualified because you can't write an offer. You have to have a pre-qualification letter from your lender in order to submit an offer. They're not accepted. And they're very thorough now. There's a checklist of things that say, well, we looked at their income, we verified this, we verified that. They're not just writing, yes, Rick can buy a house on a napkin. So pre-qualification letters are critical, and it changed a few years ago, and they're worth their weight in gold. So you got to have that. If you're for sale by owner, nobody's coming in. They're not pre-qualified. They, very few know how to buy it. And the danger is later, not the price negotiation. It's the inspections and the deadlines and the timing. And, you got 10 days to inspect it. If you don't respond within 10 days, you've just accepted the house. There's all kinds of stuff. What kind of earnest money are you going to put down? Who's going to hold it? Are you having a title company? This can all be done. You just need to know what you're doing. So if you see a thing that's for sale by owner, go ahead and take a shot and contact a real estate agent and see if he can get you a decent deal on that house. And what really has to happen, here's how you get a better deal. We kind of get realistic with these guys and go, hey, look, I got to be honest with you. I'm looking at the data here. Where did you get that price? I mean, you've got it listed at 500,000. You've been sitting on the market for 35 days. I'm thinking maybe you're around 450. I mean, let's take a look at this, and we can get the pricing at a realistic level. Does it cost them money? Not really, because they haven't sold it at 500,000, so it hasn't cost them a thing. So get somebody on your side and get that done. So I want to take just a moment to talk about what's coming ahead, because we are very confident that March is going to be a strong, strong market. And when I say as an industry, but I also want to back that up and say, we really haven't been right yet. We thought that March was going to be absolutely horrific when we had stay-at-home order. Spring training was canceled. Thought everybody was going to be laid off. This was just going to be the most dismal market we'd ever seen. And we got surprised. We got surprised because rates went down to like 2.75. Millennials came out like crazy, started buying houses. People are scared. They don't want to let people in their houses. So inventory dwindled. We've been wrong just about every month. So as we look ahead and we go, well, maybe our January, where we normally see a lot of listings come on, maybe that's just getting delayed to spring. I'm not seeing any indication that listings are going to start showing up. So I'm just taking this market a week at a time now. I know that prices are going to go up, but I don't see anything that says, oh, there's an indicator we're going to have a lot of inventory at the end of April. I don't see it. I really have nothing to look at to find out if it's coming or not. Your home, you're getting letters and phone calls from real estate agents. Hey, you thinking about selling your home? Hey, you want me to tell you what your home is worth? You know it. You're seeing it. You're seeing it every day, but people are just not putting it on. There's also that segment that says, well, I'm not going to list my house now because where the heck am I going to live? I have a friend that called me from California this weekend, and he says, hey, Rick, we're looking at new builds up in the Surprise area. And he said, it's an 8-month process. And he goes, do you think, I'm having questions with the lender. He said, do you think I can qualify to go ahead and process that loan? And then I'll sell my townhome out here in California. And then I can pay cash for that place when it's done. I said, well, that's a question for the lender, because I don't see your income. I don't know what your debt is. I can't answer that question. But I said, if I was in California right now and you're sure that you want to buy out here, I go, why don't you sell that thing while the market's hot? Because today, it's a given. You'll sell your townhome in a day. There's no doubt about it. Will you know that in June? You might be right. But if you know it now and you're moving out here anyway, and he's flexible because he's got a corporate job where he just got to be by an airport. Then I said, pull the trigger, sell it. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt to move twice. I get it. But, rent something and get a 9-month lease, because you can get a 9-month lease. And you can get a 9-month lease out here in Arizona, close to where your new house is going to be, so that you can follow up on the construction, or you can stay in California. But then now you got the cash. Now you got the flexibility. You qualify. Then there's nothing to worry about. If in June things change, you might be kicking yourself in the butt. Now, if they change with the price of the home that you're buying, that's great. That looks good. Takes kind of the pressure off. But man, if that place that you're in, the value dips just because you sat on your hands because you just didn't want to move twice, I think you'd regret that. So if you're in a position to do that, I think it's a good move, especially since construction is taking so long. And it's taking long because we're having supply side issues. We can't get the lumber. We can't get the nails. We can't get the appliances. It just takes a long time. You can look up some news stories about all the shipping containers that are sitting in China. There just isn't a lot of back and forth going on, not a lot of trading. So everything's really, really backed up. So we'll take a look at the numbers again tomorrow. We'll pull up some more data. We'll take a look and see what's going on. Until then, thanks for showing up. And I appreciate if you subscribe. Thanks again.